Winter is the perfect time to read classics because most people tend to spend more time indoors. If you're looking for suggestions, books that you can get into, I have 10 great classic novels to get you through winter. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice is a classic novel written by Jane Austen in 1813. It is a romantic novel that tells the story of the Bennet family, a group of 5 sisters living in the early 19th century in rural England. The novel centers on the eldest Bennet sister, Elizabeth, and her relationship with Mr. Darcy, a wealthy and proud aristocrat. The novel explores themes of love, marriage, class, social class, and societal expectations. Austen uses wit, irony, and satire to comment on the societal conventions of her time and the behavior of her characters. The novel is renowned for its sharp and astute observations of human nature and the intricacies of relationships, and that's timeless. Pride and Prejudice follows the Bennet family. The Bennets are a respectable but not wealthy family, and the novel centers on the efforts of the Bennet sisters to secure suitable marriages. The Bennet sisters are the 5 daughters of Mr. and Mrs. Bennet. They are Elizabeth Bennet, the protagonist, who is known for her wit and intelligence; Jane Bennet, the eldest, who is known for her beauty and sweet nature; Mary Bennet, who is the middle sister and known for her studiousness and seriousness. And then we have Catherine Kitty Bennet and Lydia Bennet, who are the youngest sisters and are known for their playfulness and lack of discretion. So the main character in the novel is the eldest Bennet sister, Elizabeth, who is intelligent and independent, and she initially dislikes Mr. Darcy, who is a wealthy and proud aristocrat. However, as she gets to know him better, she begins to see that he's not the cold and aloof person that she thought he was. Meanwhile, Mr. Darcy becomes increasingly attracted to Elizabeth despite her lower social status. Throughout the novel, the Bennet sisters face various obstacles in their efforts to secure suitable marriages, including misunderstandings, rivalries, and interference from family and friends. The novel also explores the relationship between Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth, as well as their growing love for each other despite their initial prejudices and misconceptions. The novel culminates in a series of dramatic events, including a proposal and rejection, a family crisis, and a revelation about Mr. Darcy's past behavior. Pride and Prejudice is a delightful and entertaining novel that will keep you turning the pages. The book is a witty and clever romance. Its protagonist, Elizabeth Bennet, is charming and independent. You will laugh at the antics of the Bennet sisters, swoon over the romance between Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy, and be thoroughly entertained by Austen's sharp social commentary. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Jane Eyre is a classic novel written by Charlotte Bronte in 1847. It is a romantic novel that tells the story of the titular character Jane Eyre, who is an orphan who becomes a governess at the estate of the mysterious Mr. Rochester. The novel explores themes of love, class, and gender roles, as well as the nature of identity and self-worth. This novel is a first-person narrative told from the point of view of Jane Eyre herself. It starts with her childhood as an orphan, then her unhappy time at a boarding school, and her subsequent employment as a governess at Thornfield Hall, where she falls in love with her employer, Mr. Rochester. Who is this Mr. Rochester? He's a dark, brooding and mysterious figure who is initially engaged to another woman. As the novel progresses, the reader discovers that Mr. Rochester has a dark secret which threatens to tear Jane and Mr. Rochester apart. As for what that secret is and what happens when Jane eventually finds out about it, you will have to read this novel to find out. Jane Eyre is an exciting and thrilling read that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The novel follows the journey of the strong-willed and independent Jane, an orphan who rises above her difficult childhood and oppressive societal expectations to find love and happiness. From her time at a cruel boarding school to her position as a governess at the mysterious Thornfield Hall, Jane's story is full of twists and turns that will keep you guessing. The romance between Jane and her employer, Mr. Rochester, is a captivating one that will have you rooting for them every step of the way. Bronte's writing is rich and atmospheric. The story of Jane has stayed with me since I first read this novel a long time ago. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Wuthering Heights is a classic novel written by Emily Bronte in 1847. It is a novel of romance, revenge, and obsession set on the isolated moors of northern England. The novel tells the story of the Earnshaws, a family living at the remote Wuthering Heights, and the Lintons, a wealthy family living in the nearby Thrushcross Grange. The novel is narrated by a series of characters, including Mr. Lockwood, a tenant at Thrushcross Grange, and Nellie Dean, a housekeeper at Wuthering Heights. The main characters of the story are Heathcliff, an orphan taken in by the Earnshaws, and Catherine Earnshaw, the daughter of the house. The novel starts with Heathcliff and Catherine's childhood, where they become close friends and eventually fall in love. However, Catherine decides to marry a wealthy neighbor, Edgar Linton, who leads to Heathcliff's departure and a series of tragic events. Throughout the novel, Heathcliff returns to Wuthering Heights, seeking revenge and seeking to win back Catherine's love. The novel explores love, revenge, and obsession. The characters are all driven by intense passion and emotion, and their actions have severe consequences for themselves and those around them. Wuthering Heights ends with the deaths of several main characters, and the remaining characters left to reflect on the destructive nature of their relationships and the destructive power of love and revenge. Wuthering Heights tells the story of the passionate and tempestuous love between Catherine and Heathcliff, set against the backdrop of the harsh and wild moors of northern England. The novel is full of twists and turns, with love, jealousy, and revenge at its core. The characters are complex and multidimensional, making them relatable and fascinating. The story is also full of gothic elements such as a haunted mansion and a haunted love story that makes it really a page-turner. The writing is beautiful and evocative, and Emily Bronte's use of imagery and symbolism will transport you to a wild and rugged landscapes of the moors. So if you're in for a wild ride of love, passion, and revenge, Wuthering Heights is the book for you. Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Moby Dick is a classic novel written by Herman Melville in 1851. It is a novel of adventure, obsession, once again, and revenge, set in the maritime world of the 19th century. The novel tells the story of Ishmael, a sailor who signs up for a whaling voyage as a way to escape the land and perhaps himself. The ship is captained by Ahab, an egomaniacal and monomaniacal figure who is obsessed with revenge against a giant white sperm whale, which he believes took his leg on a previous voyage. Moby Dick is a complex and multi-layered narrative that explores obsession, revenge, and the human condition. The novel is rich in symbolism and imagery, and it uses the whaling voyage really as a metaphor for the human search for meaning and understanding in the world. Moby Dick starts with Ishmael's decision to sign up for the whaling voyage, and it follows the ship as it sets sail on its journey. Along the way, the sailors encounter various obstacles and dangers, including storms, shipwrecks, and attacks from whales. As the voyage progresses, Ishmael becomes increasingly disturbed by Ahab's obsession with the white whale, and he begins to question the morality of the whaling industry. The novel reaches a climax when the ship finally encounters the white whale, leading to a dramatic and violent confrontation. Moby Dick is an action-packed and adventurous novel that will take you on a wild ride. It tells the story of Ishmael, a sailor who signs up for a whaling voyage as a way to escape the land and himself, but soon he finds himself on the ship Pequod, captained by Ahab, a monomaniacal figure who is obsessed with avenging a giant white sperm whale that destroyed his ship and his leg on a previous voyage. The novel follows the journey of the ship and its crew as they hunt for the infamous white whale, with Ishmael as the narrator. The book is full of nautical jargon, action, and adventure, and it's an exciting story of obsession, revenge, and also the destructive nature of man. Melville's writing is rich and descriptive and will transport you to the depths of the sea, and the story is full of memorable characters and memorable quotes. Although it can be challenging to read, I won't lie to you, this is a classic that is worth the effort and is sure to delight readers who love adventure, action, and a touch of the supernatural. So grab a copy and set sail on an epic journey with Ishmael and Ahab. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. The Picture of Dorian Gray is a classic novel written by Oscar Wilde in 1890. It is a novel of moral decay and the corrupting nature of beauty and youth. This novel tells the story of Dorian Gray, a young and beautiful man who becomes the subject of a portrait painted by the artist Basil Hallward. Dorian becomes infatuated with his portrait and he wishes that the portrait would age instead of himself. His wish is granted and the portrait becomes a reflection of his inner ugliness as he engages in a life of hedonism, selfishness, and even cruelty. This novel is a first-person narrative told by the character of the narrator, Lord Henry Wotton, who befriends Dorian and influences him with his cynical and immoral views on life. This novel explores morality, beauty, and the corrupting nature of power and privilege. Throughout the novel, Dorian indulges in a life of excess and pleasure, causing pain and suffering to everyone around him. As his portrait becomes increasingly grotesque, he becomes increasingly disturbed by it, and eventually he locks it away in his attic where it can't be seen by anyone. The Picture of Dorian Gray is a captivating and thrilling read that will keep you guessing till the end. It tells the story of Dorian Gray, a young man who is given a portrait of himself that ages while he remains eternally young and handsome. He becomes increasingly corrupted by his own vanity and immorality, leading to his ultimate downfall. The book is full of wit, dark humor, and satire, making it a fun and entertaining read while also tackling deeper themes of beauty, morality, and the corrupting nature of power and pleasure. Wilde's writing is elegant, sophisticated, and full of clever wordplay, making it a pleasure to read. The story is also full of memorable characters and quotes, and the ending is so good. So if you're looking for a dark, witty, and thought-provoking read, The Picture of Dorian Gray is the book for you. War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. War and Peace is a classic novel written by Leo Tolstoy in 1869. It is a novel of historical fiction that tells the story of the Napoleonic Wars and their impact on Russian society. The novel is set against the backdrop of the French invasion of Russia that took place in 1812, and it follows the lives of several aristocratic families in Russia, including the Besukhovs, the Bolkonskis, and the Kuragins. This novel is a complex and multi-layered narrative that explores war, love, family, and the human condition once again. It is rich in historical detail, and it is known for its realistic portrayal of the Napoleonic Wars and their impact on society in Russia. So the novel starts with the introduction of the main characters, including Pierre Besukhov, the illegitimate son of a wealthy count who struggles to find his place in society, and Andrei Bolkonsky, a proud and ambitious soldier who becomes disillusioned with war. As the novel progresses, and it is a big one, the characters are all affected by the war in different ways, and they all must navigate the challenges of love and family, as well as the impact of war on society at large. This novel reaches a climax with the French invasion of Russia, leading to a dramatic and devastating end to the war, and the novel concludes with the characters finding peace and redemption. War and Peace is an epic and thrilling read that will transport you to another time and place. It tells the story of the lives of several aristocratic families in Russia during the Napoleonic Wars. It is a sweeping tale of love, war, family, and society, full of memorable characters and memorable quotes. It is also a deep exploration of the ideas of history, free will, and personal growth. It is full of action, adventure, and romance, with a rich and detailed portrayal of the Napoleonic era, and it is actually a fun and entertaining read that will keep you engaged from start to finish. Tolstoy's writing is masterful and evocative, and the story is full of memorable moments and emotionally powerful scenes. It is a classic that it is worth the effort, I assure you, and it's sure to delight readers who love historical fiction and epic storytelling. So if you're ready for an adventure, grab a copy of War and Peace and immerse yourself in the world of Tolstoy's Russia. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Anna Karenina is a classic novel written by Leo Tolstoy in 1877. The novel tells the story of Anna Karenina, a beautiful and fashionable married woman who falls in love with the dashing Count Vronsky, leading to her eventual downfall. This novel is set in the late 19th century in Russia, and it explores love, family, morality, and the nature of happiness, really. The novel starts with Anna's arrival in St. Petersburg, where she's reunited with her brother, Stiva Oblonsky, and his family. She meets Vronsky at a party, and they begin a passionate affair, leading to her eventual separation from her husband, Karenin, and also leading to her ostracism from society. As the novel progresses, Anna becomes increasingly consumed by her love for Vronsky, and she becomes increasingly isolated from her family and friends. The novel also follows the story of Levin, a landowner who is searching for meaning and purpose in his life, and his eventual marriage to Kitty. Anna Karenina is a captivating and thrilling read that will keep you on the edge of your seat. It tells the story of this beautiful and fashionable woman in the late 19th century Russia, Anna Karenina, who defies societal expectations and pursues a scandalous love affair with a dashing military officer, Count Vronsky. This novel, as you can imagine, is full of romance, drama, and scandal, and all of that makes it fun and entertaining to read. Tolstoy's writing is masterful and evocative, and the story is full of memorable characters. The novel is also an exploration of love, morality, societal expectations, all of that. It is a classic novel, it is worth the effort, and it's sure to delight readers who love both historical fiction and romance. So if you're looking for a page-turner that is both entertaining and thought-provoking and really, really good, Anna Karenina is the book for you. The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. The Grapes of Wrath is a great classic novel written by John Steinbeck in 1939, so it's more of a modern classic. It is a novel of social protest that tells the story of the Joad family, a family of tenant farmers from Oklahoma who are forced to leave their land and migrate to California during the Great Depression. So the novel is set during the 1930s, and it explores poverty, migration, and the human condition as a whole. The novel starts with the Joads losing their land due to the Dust Bowl and economic hardship, and follows their journey west to California in search of work and a better life. Along the way, the Joads face various obstacles, including hunger, disease, and discrimination. The novel is a first-person narrative, and it is told from the point of view of Tom Joad, the eldest son of the family. As the novel progresses, Tom becomes increasingly politicized, and he becomes an advocate for the rights of migrant workers. The Grapes of Wrath is an engaging and thought-provoking read that will take you on an emotional journey. The novel tells the story of the Joad family, Oklahoma farmers who are forced to leave their home during the Great Depression to seek a better life in California. The novel is full of action, adventure, and drama, with a rich and detailed portrayal of the struggles of the poor and the working class during the Great Depression. This novel is also an exploration of themes such as family, community, and the human spirit. While it is not a light-hearted read, it is an important and powerful novel that will make you think and feel. It's a classic that it's worth the effort, and it's sure to delight readers who love historical fiction and social commentary. So if you are ready for an emotional and thought-provoking read, The Grapes of Wrath is the book for you. Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Great Expectations is my favorite novel by Charles Dickens. He published it in 1861. It is a novel of coming of age and personal growth that tells the story of Pip, a young orphan boy living in Kent, England. The novel follows Pip's journey from humble beginnings to becoming a gentleman as he receives mysterious help from an unknown benefactor to pursue his dreams of becoming a gentleman and winning the heart of Estella, a beautiful and wealthy young woman. The novel starts with Pip's childhood, where he's raised by his sister and her husband, and then his encounter with an escaped convict, which sets the course for the rest of his life. Pip is later visited by a lawyer who informs him that he has been given money and resources to become a gentleman by an anonymous benefactor. As the novel progresses, Pip goes to London to become a gentleman and begins to distance himself from his past and the people he loved, including his sister Biddy and Joe Gargery, his brother-in-law. He also becomes increasingly obsessed with Estella, who is cold and aloof toward him. Great Expectations is an exciting and action-packed novel that will keep you guessing until the very end. It tells the story of a young orphan named Pip who finds himself unexpectedly elevated to the upper class thanks to an anonymous benefactor. The novel is also full of adventure, mystery, and romance as Pip sets out to uncover the identity of his benefactor and navigate the intricacies of high society at the time. Dickens' writing is rich, descriptive, and full of wit and humor, making it a fun and entertaining read, I assure you. The story is full of twists and turns that will keep you guessing until the very end. It's a timeless classic that is worth the effort, and I think it will delight readers who love adventure, mystery, and romance. So if you're reading for a thrilling classic adventure, grab a copy of Great Expectations and join Pip on his journey to discover the truth and chase his dreams. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Frankenstein is an amazing classic novel written by Mary Shelley in 1818. It is a novel of horror and science fiction that tells the story of Victor Frankenstein, a young scientist who creates a monster from dead body parts and brings it to life using electricity. The novel explores themes of science, ethics, and the nature of humanity. The novel is written in the form of a frame story, with the monster himself narrating some parts of the story. The novel starts with Victor's early interest in science and his ambition to create life. He creates the monster, but upon seeing its grotesque appearance, he's horrified and abandons it. The novel explores the monster's experiences as it tries to find acceptance and understanding in a world that rejects him, or it. It, or him, or he becomes vengeful and starts to hunt down Victor, who it blames for its miserable existence. So Frankenstein is a thrilling and exciting read that will keep you on the edge of your seat. It tells the story of Victor Frankenstein, a young scientist who creates a monster out of dead body parts and brings it to life. The story is full of suspense, horror, and science fiction elements, so it is fun and entertaining. Shelley's writing is both descriptive and evocative. The novel explores many different themes, the dangers of playing God being one of them, also the nature of humanity, and the consequences of obsession. I think people who love science fiction, horror, and the Gothic genre need to read Frankenstein. It is not just a thrilling story, though. Frankenstein is also a reflection on the power of science and the nature of humanity. So if you're looking for something thrilling, but also thought-provoking, get yourself a copy of Frankenstein and join Victor on his journey of creation and destruction. And let me know if you have read any of these novels, and also what else are you planning to read this winter. Let me know in the comment section below, and have fun.